Whether we are very glad to have you all join us today for this webinar. We will have time for question and answers at the end, but we're just really looking forward to pulling together a great group. And to get started here, I'm just going to give you a little bit of a background, first of all, about who LPGM is. And so for most of you who have known us for a while, this is not new, but for some of you, this is new. So we are just delighted that for 30 plus years, we have been working alongside global partners, some Lutherans, some non-Lutherans, but Christians, to provide resources and opportunities for people at the margins, especially women and girls. Many of our programs do also provide service and support for boys and training and whatnot for men also, but really with the focus being on women and girls who in so many parts of the world are not able to get the education and opportunity that they deserve. We're an independent pan-Lutheran 501c3, which means we don't have a specific formal bond with any particular denomination. So we work gladly with anyone, any churches, whether Lutheran or not even, civic groups, Rotary clubs, you name it, who are interested in the work of our partners abroad. And we have put together a short video. It's just 3.5 minutes. This actually was commissioned right before our 25th anniversary. So it's about 5 years old, but it does just, I think, tell a really nice, the story of our origin. You'll see the voices of our co-founders, Gordon and Betty Olson in here, as well as some shots of travel and other things over the years. So we'll let Laura play this.
Okay, if you can't hear the sound, please immediately stop me.
Can't hear. There it goes. Now it's good.
When I think about Lutheran Partners in Global Ministry, from its beginning 25 or more years ago to where we are today and where we're going in the future, one of the first words that comes to my mind is hope. It's a term that recognizes the world as it currently exists, and yet even in the face of that reality, we believe in a God who provides hope, who says that the world can and will be something different.
I would describe to my friends LPGM as an organization that is teaching us how to be a global citizen in the world and what it means to walk alongside other people.
I think of the young women. In too many cultures, women have it way too hard, and LPGM is looking after those women that need that little extra boost and that little extra love.
It all started, of course, with the death of our only son. We were very concerned about how the church would be finished that he had started. An architect came forward and he offered to go finish the church.
This beautiful edifice in Bangui, Central African Republic, was dedicated and named St. Timothy Lutheran. But that was kind of the start of visioning how we might go beyond him. And it came together that we should start an organization.
We get together, build relationships with partners all around the world. Lutherans in India, in Tanzania, people of faith in Guatemala, in Central African Republic. We are committed to our ministry and mission of providing education to people at the margins, particularly women and girls. This is one impactful way that we can make a difference as a community together.
I've been a pastor at Prairie Lutheran Church for 25 years. Gordon and Betty came in, talked a little bit, and it lit a spark under and in the hearts of our congregation. And from there, we just connected and sponsored maybe 100 students throughout our congregation.
I see LPGM giving them hope and giving them love and giving them dreams and giving them joy.
We are just thrilled that Lutheran Partners is under good leadership, and we hope that it continues to make a difference in the lives of many people.
To all of you who are partners and individuals who are sponsors and donors, I first of all want to just say thank you. We are part of God's family doing God's work together. So thank you.
All right, so that gives just a real high-level overview of LPGM. Just a few slides here to kind of give you a little more background, our why. We are creators, co-creators with God in an ongoing project of healing the world. We've made a mess of things, but God has also blessed us with the power to make things better, to work for change, to care for the creation God loves, and for all individuals. We are going to learn from our partners how they are healing the world. Through that learning, we will come back and apply what we learned to be a co-creator in healing our own communities. Our vision. LPGM envisions a world where relationships transform boundaries and where all people have the resources and opportunities they need to thrive. And finally, our mission. Our mission is to provide access to quality education for people at the margins, especially women and girls. We work together with global partners to listen, respond, and bear witness to their local needs and priorities. So as we get into who are our partners in Tanzania, you will see that we are partnering with people who are from there, who are, deeply embedded in the struggles and the issues of the people they serve. So we do see this definitely as a accompaniment with them, as walking alongside them to identify what barriers are standing in the way of students attending school or being able to find opportunities in their life. And so how can we advance access to education? And secondly, how can the education itself be better? How can we provide them with the skills and the knowledge that they need so they can have futures, lives of dignity, that they can have a vocation to fall on or to pursue a dream, whether that is going to be a doctor or a policeman or a social worker, a teacher, or even a tailor. We want to provide what they need for what they are going to do with their life to thrive, and also to just empower them, knowing that they're a child of God and that we love them.
Thanks,
I'm going to
Bethany.
turn this over to Laura now because she's the expert here on our destination and our trip.
Oh, I'm far from the expert. I know we have many on the call that have been to Tanzania several times, so I could maybe hand this slide over to one of you. But this trip will take you into Arusha, near Kilimanjaro. Your flight will go right into the Kilimanjaro airport. You'll probably connect through Amsterdam or Paris, um, and you'll be spending your entire time within the beautiful country in northern Tanzania. A few fun facts I've just placed up on this slide. I don't necessarily need to read them word for word, but when you're on this trip with LPGM travelers and prospective travelers, you're going to be in Arusha and the surrounding area. Your travel will be maybe 90 minutes, give or take, on each time you're going out to do something, depending upon how the itinerary comes together. And your travel will take place within safari jeeps. So you'll be very comfortable. Once you land in Kilimanjaro, you'll be traveling in a jeep that will be your kind of home away from home as you'll be driving around. And it's very, very comfortable. I would say that, again, the time and your geographic footprint will be pretty limited. It does take a little while to get around to different places given road conditions, but you're going to be kind of centralized in Arusha and then traveling out into different districts, and then you'll have some time away out into some safari experiences as well. Are there any questions right now about travel to Tanzania, items like that? Anything? And you can definitely be off of mute if you need to. Okay, we're going to continue on, and I know we'll have more questions as we get through our presentation. As Bethany said, we have partners all over the world. Our two partners in Tanzania are Arapoto for women and girls and Mwangaza. And as Bethany was talking about our mission and how our mission works on advancing access and elevating excellence, these partnerships each serve one of those reasons or one of those purposes. Arapoto for women and girls, we're going to watch a video in a moment here, but they seek to provide safe housing for women and girls. Some are had been married and escaped a forced early marriage. Some are potentially face the threat of marriage. And I don't want to say threat of marriage like a bad thing, but oftentimes what happens is girls in Tanzania, they go to school. And when they return home on breaks, there can be challenges within the family. There can be economic challenges within the family. And so sometimes the girls don't return back to their boarding school from their break. They instead are married to someone within their community, and sometimes at a very, very young age, and start their families. And so Arapoto serves to provide a safe place for girls to stay during their holiday breaks so that they can continue and advance in their education. So they're really on that advancing access, allowing girls to maintain their relationship to school, their commitment to school, and their educational endeavors. Mwangaza works on elevating excellence. And so with Mwangaza, we'll talk about this in a few minutes, but their whole piece, and Debbie, you could definitely chime in and give this slide and talk more about it, as they're in their 30th year, much like Lutheran Partners in Global Ministry, and they seek to provide alternatives to traditional disciplinary tactics and practices within schools. And so discipline practices in Tanzania harken back to the colonialism and the use of caning and corporal punishment. And so Mwangaza seeks to provide alternatives such as nonviolent communication, working through conflict resolution, active listening, training teachers, students, and parents the benefits of moving away from a more corporal punishment system into one that's built on peace, trust, and understanding. How am I doing, Debbie?
Great. Yeah, they're peace clubs. The thing that impresses me the most about Mwangaza with this program is that they don't start with just, they do the whole program. They start with administrators and teachers and
Mm,
kids, and then they go to the parents because
mm,
of a lot of domestic abuse that exists too.
yeah,
So they hit all aspects of it.
thank you. Thanks. I did advance the slide while you were talking there. So this is our slide just about Arapoto. Bethany, I think maybe I had you slated to share this, but I don't know what if you'd like to add a few pieces regarding our partnership with Arapoto. I might have stepped over some of your talking points. I apologize.
Sure. No, I just think it's interesting to know there's a lot of, new words, new sounding words as we're preparing to travel to another country. The word Arapoto, which is the name of our partner there, actually means safety and security in their language of Maasai. So that safety and security is really what our partner there is seeking to give these girls, and actually some boys as well. Uh, and that little second little part at the bottom says, in addition to providing the safe house, the Aripoto ministry or mission also is to provide now early education to neighborhood children. They've added a preschool, which includes some of the children of the young women who are living at Aripoto while they're on school holiday. So our partners at Aripoto are actually helping to raise these children that were conceived out of bad situations, let's call it rape also, but they are loved and cared for, and they are growing up in such a beautiful atmosphere by a Christian staff. They are learning about God's love for them. They are learning their ABCs and one, two, threes. They are playing. They're having healthy, wonderful food that is prepared by the staff in the new kitchen that donors of LPGM helped to build. They have a new facility that is allowing them to provide more housing for more young women and boys in need of that safety and security. And I might add, this is done primarily through the support of LPGM. We are Iripoto's number one financial supporter. So this is something that, I don't think it will be a surprise once you get there or we get there, and that they will thank us, and the hospitality they show us is reflective on how truly they look to LPGM, the travelers and donors, as really the source of that safety and security that they're experiencing there, as well as a community-based preschool and early learning center for the children of their community.
Thanks, Bethany. That was great. I'll show a very quick video here from SUVAT. I don't know if we'll even watch the entire bit of it, but SUVAT is the founder and executive director of Eripoto. And so this is a message that she has shared with us, and I think is really helpful to understand more of what they're about.
Maisisengai, praise God. My name is Esuvat Lukumai. I am the founder of a reporter for girls and women. A reporter is a Mal language which means security. A reporter mission is to protect and empower girls and women in northern Tanzania through community-based education, school programs, scholarships, and safe house. I founded a reporter because of my childhood story. I was born in northern Tanzania in 1987. Due to government laws requiring all children to attend primary school, I got a chance to go to primary school. I finished when I was 14 years old. But from there, I couldn't continue with my studies because my father received the bride price for me when I was only 12. For 4 years, I prayed to avoid this forced marriage, but unfortunately I was taken by force to this man. But after 3 days, I escaped. I was 16 years old. I was homeless. I found a job as a housekeeper and began to save money so I could return back to school. With the help of a sponsor, I was able to complete a 2 years technical training in tailoring and secretarial, and I was able to get a scholarship to go to secondary school, and I worked this so hard so that eventually I made up to the university. My story is unusual because many girls are not lucky, as I was able to find support. And this is why I have passion to support other girls who are facing the same challenge as I had. Through a reporter, I started visiting schools to inspire girls by telling my story. I have met girls with so many needs. Some are at risk for forced marriages. Some need very basic things such as school uniform, shoes, exercise books, pens, and other items essential to their success in school. A reporter provides supplies whenever we can to girls from the poorest, most challenging places. We also visit churches and talk to parents, especially women, about the importance of education for girls. A reporter also has a safe house where girls who face forced marriages and violence at home can come for shelter and support. I benefited from a safe house when I was in secondary school. A safe house started 20 years ago by Dr. Msunjili, Mark and Juliet Cutler. This support made a huge difference to me and inspired me to start a reporter's safe house, which is currently saving 14 girls and 2 toddlers born to girls who came to us already pregnant. All safe house girls are in school, and they are also learning technical skills such as sewing by making bags and jewelries. The girls are empowered to support themselves. We thank God for Christ, our Shepherd Lutheran Church, for your prayers and support. We ask that you continue holding up the needs of many women in Tanzania who are struggling with violence and poverty. We are making a huge difference in their lives. Maisisengai.
Okay. So that is out of date. She has more than 10 girls and 2 toddlers. We just got the latest update with some pictures from expansion, a building expansion of the safe house. And it's very impressive the amount of work that's happened since I was there in September with this building expansion that will accommodate more girls and more children. So that's just a little background about SUVI. You kind of got a little preview as to the energy and excitement of the founder and a little bit of her story. Bethany, I'm going to turn it over to you to talk a little bit more about Gaza, and then we'll talk a little bit more about the trip itself.
Sure. I know we've already said a little bit about the work of Mwangaza, also in Tanzania. it really is focused on safe schools and training parents and staff at schools, all the way from like the headmaster or headmistress down to the janitor, and teaching teachers how to use things like nonviolent communication and how to really help students, help teachers to understand students and students to understand parents and all of that. I mean, I've been reading about Mwangaza for 5.5 years, but I'm excited to actually see it in process and see actual workshops happening, see perhaps even a peace club event, which they call a peace summit. All of this great work that is also Mwangaza celebrating its 30th anniversary this year, which LPGM just celebrated ours last year. It's sort of ironic, but and the word Mwangaza really stems from light in the Swahili language, representing the hope, enlightenment, and power of knowledge that it brings to communities. Debbie, do you have anything else you'd like to add, being that you're a board member of Friends of Mwangaza, which is now folded and merged into LPGM?
I think you hit the highlights. I could talk an entire plane trip about Mwangaza and the work that they've done. John Kavashe and Salome and Richard worked tirelessly to help these students and these teachers. Their passion is something that I have never witnessed before. So you're in for a treat if you get to go, because it's amazing the work that they do.
Thank you, Debbie.
Thanks, Debbie.
And just to clarify, I know, so there's been talk and mention of a merger. So as of January 1st this year, basically the US-based fundraising arm of Mwangaza merged with us. So Mwangaza is still its own independent Tanzanian-based nonprofit. Debbie and her board, Friends of Mwangaza, was like a volunteer group that did fundraising and appeals and newsletters on behalf of Mwangaza. Now it's just that has joined forces with LPGM, so we can be stronger working together. We're going to be adding a few of their former board members to our board this spring and so forth. So if you have questions about it or want to read more, there is a really great article on our website that I can send to you.
Thanks, Bethany. All right, let's talk a little bit about what the LPGM Transformational Travel Experience affords you and what will be provided to you should you choose to travel with us, or if you've already registered and you will be traveling with us. As I mentioned at the start of the call, you will have a dedicated staff member to help with all in-country logistics. So I'll help get you off the ground and into Tanzania, and Bethany and Sarah will be along for the trip, and we'll make sure that everything runs smoothly. If you need help booking your flights, the trip price is exclusive of airfare, but if you need help booking your flights, I'm happy to help you with that. I'll certainly advise you at minimum when you're supposed to be in country and when to arrive by so that you can all arrive around the same time. We will have several pre-trip meetings, and this is just a chance for registered travelers to get to know one another, to get to know Sarah and Bethany, and to have any questions answered as things unfold in the coming months. As part of the experience, you'll receive a resource list that has books, articles, videos that might be helpful for you as you prepare for your trip. We'll talk a little bit about visas. We'll talk about packing tips, pardon me. We'll also talk a little bit about health recommendations as you're moving towards your trip. So that'll be both written and during our pre-trip meetings. Once you're in country under Sarah and Bethany's care, you'll have not only wonderful experiences during the day, but you'll have devotions and reflections in the evenings, or maybe over breakfast if you guys get back to your hotel late at night. And you'll have support when you come back. We just got back from a trip to India, and we are excited. We'll have our first reunion meeting in a couple of weeks. And so on that back end piece, you'll have support within your reentry, hopefully lifelong friendships that have been formed, and maintaining connection with each other and the partners if you would like to. Any questions about this piece? Some people want to know exactly how this all comes together, and anything that I haven't covered. Okay, usually the next question that comes up is, well, what will we be doing, right? Because that's really important. So let's talk a little bit about the itinerary. As we've alluded to, you'll have time with both Iripoto and Mwangaza, our programs. As the itinerary builds out, it's usually a good solid day, day and a half with each partner. That could be going over to Iripoto and spending the day there, potentially going to worship with them. Having it's kind of some programs that they'll put on and talk a little bit about, sometimes dancing and singing, tour of the site and all of the programming that they have there, shared meals and experiences, as well as opportunities for one-on-one connections. Same thing on the Mwangaza side, time to visit likely a school that Mwangaza is partnering with currently, meeting with their facilitators at the on the school level, which would be teachers, having a chance to have small groups with students and learning more about what the Safe School initiative means to them and how they are showing up for themselves and for their fellow classmates to have a more peaceful school. Bethany mentioned a peace summit. Depending upon scheduling for the year, it is possible to go to a peace summit, and I had a chance to go to one last year, and it's electric. 300 students coming together from various schools, providing a time to come together and share best practices, but also just share what they're doing through song and dance and written and spoken word, art and things like that. So it was an incredible opportunity. And if that aligns within the schedule, we're still working on that, but that would be a wonderful experience. So those are kind of the partner experiences. We also would have an opportunity where one day all of the travelers would go together to visit a Maasai village. We last year visited a new friend of ours. His name is Musa, and he lives in a village called Lui. He's actually an elder there in his village, and it's a thriving Maasai community. They have a very active preschool, school, and Lutheran church. And so we had an opportunity to worship with the community members, share a meal, spend time with the preschoolers, and really learn a little bit more about Maasai culture and Maasai life. So that will be part of the itinerary. And then there's kind of this other piece about, hey, I'm in Africa and there's a lot of cool animals here. And maybe you would like to see some. And so we do arrange for several excursions kind of peppered throughout the experience where you would be staying either in a safari park or just outside a safari park and going on game drives. Or even last year, we went to a park where we walked and did a walking safari. There were no lions in the park, which is why we could walk. But it was beautiful, and it was a wonderful day to be together out in nature and just be able to see animals. Just doing their thing. It was just a beautiful thing. It was like jumping over the barrier at a zoo, but it was allowed. So that would be another opportunity. So there's Tarangire Safari Park and Ngorongoro Crater and Arusha National Park. Those are some of the places that we would look to having time for the travelers in and have the experience of enjoying safari experiences and getting to see some of those animals. Maybe the big five, maybe not quite. This trip does not take you into the Serengeti. I just want to be very clear about that some people ask, oh, we're so close to the Serengeti, are we going to go? It takes a long time actually to get there. It looks close, but it's pretty far. And so that is not a stop that we would be making. But having gone to some of the other stops, I would say that it's a beautiful experience and a wonderful time to see the beautiful nature in Tanzania and the animals too. Questions about the itinerary at all?
Yeah, I have a question.
Great.
When we are in these partner missions, is it mostly just presentations and stuff that we see? Do we get a chance to volunteer or do anything?
Yeah, great question. That is a really, really great question, Pat. Thank you for bringing that up. So typically what happens is we go to walk alongside our partners and bear witness to the important and wonderful work that they're doing. And so by that, it feels a little different than what we would call a traditional mission trip in that we bring our hands, but we probably use them more for prayers and shared experiences and than actually constructing things or building things. You know, I mentioned Aeropoto has a building expansion. You're not going to grab a shovel and help or a paintbrush. There may be some small activities that might come up that or might be planned that you would do potentially with the participants over at Aeropoto, maybe a craft project, something with the children. We played a bunch of games with the preschool children last year, which was really, really fun. But oftentimes it's just bearing witness, spending time, having conversations, and deepening our relationships to our partners. And so it's not a heavy lift of physical, but it's a heart lift of building relationships. And so that's really more what we're about. That said, if there is an opportunity to do some sort of small project, we would certainly look at that and find a way to make that happen. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, perhaps I could talk more. I'm a retired occupational therapist, work with special needs kids in the school
Oh, sure.
system, and I
Yeah.
can often get stuff donated from a preschool program.
Sure.
So I don't know if that would be, I could tell you more about it later and see if that would be of interest or useful.
That sounds lovely. Yeah, I think I would love to have a conversation with you offline about that. There are times in which we are bringing things over to our partners if we have certain donations that have come in. Sometimes they're not specific to exactly the part of the programming that we're supporting, but it might be something that has come up, into our purview and we ask the partner, hey, would you benefit from this or that? And as we can accommodate it in luggage, we do that or have time together. So yeah, I would love to talk to you a little bit more about that.
Right.
Other questions about the itinerary or what to expect?
I can share that asking is really important before we bring things because electricity is minimal at best. So an electric pencil sharpener, for example, wouldn't really be of a benefit. But the little handheld ones are coveted because the kids that are sharpening pencils are using razor blades otherwise.
Yikes.
So crayons also don't work in Tanzania. They melt.
Because of the heat.
So colored pencils are preferred. So things like that. That's why I have learned, and they're very honest about what they can use and what they can't use. So really important that we don't assume that what will work for us will work for them.
That's a good point.
Thanks.
I'm curious, Laura, if you know where you guys typically stay in Arusha. Do you stay close to Mwangaza's facility or?
Well, as it were, we actually last year and have historically stayed at Ilboru Safari Lodge, which is just down the road from the former location of Mwangaza's headquarters, which was up the road at the Anglican Church, I believe. And so we used to be very close to where they were. They're about a 10-minute drive from where we tend to stay, which is last year we're at Ilboru Lodge, which is just a partnership that we've developed. It's a lovely space. You can actually see a Boma style dwelling at the very bottom of this picture of this photo montage here. And that is actually a picture from Ilboru where the lodging is kind of separate little lodge style, but a beautiful dining area, pool and things like that. So it is anticipated that we'll be staying at Ilboru or a place similar. And then we would have a dedicated safari guide who would be your driver for the entire time. On the right, you can see kind of some beds. I don't think that's specifically from Ilboru, but you'll see the mosquito netting, which is important. The Boma style at Ilboru has a bathroom with a Western style toilet and shower and things like that. And so it's anticipated that we're going to stay there, but maybe not for the entire time, especially on those excursion days where you might be heading out to Tarangire and then you'll stay a little bit there. So you can have a little bit longer time enjoying that part of the trip.
Thank you.
I've also heard in the past questions about food. I know a lot of times people think they're going to come on a trip like with LPGM and they're going to lose weight. I do not think that has ever happened. Our partners are kind of notorious for going over the top when it comes to food. I've heard the food here on this trip in Tanzania is plentiful and wonderful. So we've had like vegetarians, they've been able to accommodate, et cetera, but I think we will all be very well fed. Am I right, Laura?
You are correct, Bethany. I would say, when we were there in September, we would make our way to the dining room of the place where we were staying at El Boru. We would start with a lovely breakfast, delicious fresh roasted coffee, fresh roasted and fresh ground coffee. It was delicious. And kind of assorted pastries and yogurts and things like that. Some Western food, as well as some local food as well for you to taste and try. And then if we were out during the day and visiting a partner, it was often that we would have lunch with them that would be provided by them. Otherwise, it would be taking sometimes box lunches from where we were staying. So it was a beautiful, plentiful box lunch that we would take out with us if we were going to be out and about for the day and returning in the evening to oftentimes a meal back on site or a meal out at a restaurant, just depending upon how things come together with how the days are constructed. The food is delicious. And yes, I did not lose any weight when I was on my trip in September. But I'm fine with that. So yeah. Other questions?
So we will have some local food like ugali and the stews and things like that. Yeah.
Yes, yes. And when we went off for our village visit day to LUI, we were very fortunate where we had a beautiful meal that was provided to us. And we got to eat with the local community members, and that was really, really wonderful and special too. That said, we carry bottled water wherever we go. We use bottled water and or filtered water. And we encourage you to maybe bring a couple snacks. If you like a good cereal bar or protein bar, you just put that in in your suitcase and you bring a box just in case something doesn't quite feel right or doesn't quite settle right. Sometimes those creature comforts of a granola bar are really helpful, right, in making our stomachs be settled and things like that. So, but there definitely is a lot of opportunities to try the local food and also enjoy, I think we had pancakes one day for breakfast, and I was like, these are delicious. So, yeah.
Can you
More,
speak to appropriate dress?
Thank you.
yeah. Let me tell you a little bit more about the food piece. Just one more piece that I want to draw your attention to, because I talked a little bit a bit ago about the airfare is not included in your price of this trip, so that's separate. The other piece that's separate would be alcohol. Otherwise, everything would be included, food wise, beverage wise, those types of things. And so, as last when I was there in September, we would have our meal, and if somebody wanted to have a glass of wine or something, that was just charged up to their room, and then they settled that at the conclusion of their trip. But everything else should be covered. Maybe not if you have a couple of Tanzania shillings and we stop at a little shop to get a Coca-Cola, maybe that's something that you would pay for yourself. But everything else is included and paid for in the price of the trip. As far as attire, you're getting into my pre-trip meeting curriculum, but I'll tell you a little bit about that. It's a conservative dress in Tanzania, and it's also conservative within our partnerships. And so what we encourage is long sleeves or short sleeves, just no sleeveless for men or women. Pants for men, not typically shorts unless it's an excursion day. And then usually long skirts or dresses for women. Again, if it's an excursion day, then that might be where you're going to throw in a pair of pants or something like that. Or you're back in the evening at the hotel. Of course, you can wear what feels comfortable for you. I brought a series of just knit skirts and kind of weather tech t-shirts, and that was my uniform for the week and allowed me to kind of be comfortable and also respectful of kind of where we were and what we were doing. And then sandals, I usually wore like Tevas or even running shoes in some instances, which was a look. A skirt and running shoe. I acknowledge that, but I just cropped all of my photos from the ankles up and then didn't know that I was wearing those. So, does that answer your question? I know sometimes people go, what about headscarves or things like that, covering your hair? That's not required, not necessary, at least not on my trip. Although people usually bring some sort of wrap or scarf just to keep themselves comfortable. And so I suppose if you needed to, you could cover your head in that way.
Yeah, the elevation may require a jacket too, at least in my experience.
Yeah, it can get a little cool there. You kind of have to pack for everything, and then just see what you wear on repeat. I tend to wash my clothes when I'm traveling in the sink, and so I kind of had to did a little bit of that. Although there are laundry opportunities available within the lodging and where you're staying if you wanted to participate in that or needed to wash out some things. Just looking at the slide here, just to kind of cover a few things I didn't cover up on the upper left-hand side, that's Manyara Secondary School. That's a partnership from Wangaza. So this is a group of travelers from a few years ago who went out and did a school tour, had time with staff, administrators, teachers, and students. The middle picture, I don't recognize where it's from, but that would be a typical evening meal, all sitting around a shared table, and enjoying time together. The right side must have came from their village visit. That's a boma, kind of a typical stick and mud hut on the right-hand side, and they are wearing shukas, which is a plaid kind of wool blanket, and they're very warm and cozy. You may be gifted one of those during your time, and they're wearing shukas. And oh, she has a beautiful necklace, beaded necklace that looks like was gifted to her around her neck. And then the bottom left-hand side, oh my gosh, look at those adorable children. One of those is Asivat's daughter, I can tell. They just hopped in that Jeep there. So that's like a typical Jeep. If you're not familiar with a safari Jeep, it's a little high off the ground, but we've been known to put a soda pop bottle crate on the ground for a little step stool to get you up and in. And then once you're in, it's fairly comfortable. Places to have your water, your backpack. You can kind of see also up on the very top there, it looks like an inset or an inlay in the very top of the roof that pops up and off. So when you're out on safari, you can actually stand in the vehicle and look out and see the animals. So you're not actually, you would have an unobstructed view when you're in the safari truck. And that is your truck for the entire time. It's not like you're in a van and then you switch to that. Once you're in your car, you're going to be in that truck for the whole week, in and out, with the same guide and driver. And last year, we were fortunate to have a gentleman who was familiar with LPGM before, and we're definitely going to do our best to try and secure him as one of our guides because he just became kind of one of the group and he understands the partnerships and what we're all about. And so we're definitely hoping to make that happen again this year. Any questions about this slide? I could show you a million pictures, just like Debbie could talk about Mungaza for an hour. I could show you slide after slide after slide. But I'm going to hand it over to Bethany because Bethany and Sarah are going to have a little time. Sarah, I didn't tell you this, but you're in the hot seat for a few minutes here, and then we're going to wrap up and probably try and be done straight on the hour here. So I'm going to hand it over to the two of you.
All right. So Sarah, get off of mute,
Hey.
please. And I'm not going to read this slide. You all can read for yourselves, but I have 3 questions for you.
Okay.
Just to get to know Sarah a little bit. So she's not prepared for these questions, guys. Okay, Sarah, what is one thing that you never leave home without?
Phone is obvious, but I usually have a cup of tea. Like
All right, a tea drinker. All right, that's fabulous.
Mhm.
Okay, could you please share a story with us of a time, perhaps on a trip, when you felt God's presence?
Yeah. Well, I'll just the picture there on your slide that's the biggest was on a trip with a bunch of pastors from the St. Paul Synod in Minnesota. And we were in a seminar with pastors from the Iringa Diocese in central Tanzania. And this particular pastor was sort of our guide for a village visit. And he just showed us everywhere and just like that, the relationships, like when you were talking, so building those relationships. And he was very into chickens. And so wherever we went, he would pick up a chicken and start telling us about the chicken. And it just, just building relationships through sort of fun and cultural things. I just love that.
Neat. Me too. And finally, what is something that has surprised you about your travels with LPGM?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I guess I would say, when I think Pat was asking about what do you do? and that sometimes that's hard to like go, okay, I'm not going to do anything, but it really truly is about building relationships. And my mom always says that's harder than building houses. So I think the facilitating the building of relationships has been a big piece for the 2 trips I've been on with LPGM. And I certainly would see that being a big piece, like sitting at the table with people, not just grouping in our own group. We'll do that plenty to like have our debrief and devotion time, but really finding ways to be in relationship with people.
Great, thank you. And I have to add, so Sarah and I actually met each other when we traveled through LPGM to India in 23. And I was really struck, Sarah, how you would always find a way to kind of go off and meet the people in the corner, or go and like sit on the floor with the women that were tailoring, or and to ask them their names. And you just tried so hard to get the pronunciation just right, and write down your name for me, I want to see how you spell it, or and so I admired that curiosity in you, and kind of that fearless adventurousness in you. And so I'm really just thrilled to have you be the leader of this trip. It's going to be great. Really, really great.
Thank you. I am very excited.
Yay.
Thank you.
Back to Laura.
Thank you both. All right, we're in the home stretch here, friends, and I have 2 minutes, but I want to give you a chance to ask any final questions. Of course, this is not your only opportunity to connect with us and ask questions. Certainly, I'll send you after the conclusion of this call a message, and I'll have the link to this webinar that you might want to share with family and friends. But just to be very clear, we are still obviously very excited about this trip and accepting registrations. And so the next step, if you're interested, if you're ready to move ahead, it would be to place a deposit to secure your spot. The deposit is $300. It can be paid either via check and mailed to our office here, or online on our website. And that's a non-refundable deposit, but it does hold your space. Our trip price for this year, again, exclusive of airfare, alcohol, and souvenirs, is $4,275. However, our early bird pricing, saving you $125, is still up and running for a few more days until the 25th. If you have any questions, you need to kind of figure out pieces, just let me know. We would really love to have a robust group here. We try and cap it, into a reasonable amount of people. And so right now we definitely have space. We usually go in groups of 6 based off of safari truck size. So we want to get to kind of that magical 6 number, and then maybe up to that 12 number. But the next step for you would be to put that deposit down. And after that would happen, I would send you a link to register, just kind of collect some basic information, and then we're kind of off to the races, and you're on my distribution list, and we'll get you moving forward through pre-trip meetings and all of those elements as well. However, like I said, if you have any questions at all, I am available. And if I don't know the answer, I'm going to phone a friend here and ask Pastor Sarah or Bethany or Dan, our executive director, to help fill in those places. But we would love to have you join us. And if it doesn't work this fall, then maybe next year. It's good to plan ahead. And we are just really, really excited about the meaningful and important work that's happening for our partners in Tanzania. And we just want as many people to come alongside and show up on their doorstep and learn and listen and connect and build community. So thank you for joining us today here to learn more about our trip and our experience that will be coming up in September. I'll see Pat has a question, and then we'll leave it for any final questions, and then we'll close out.
A couple of questions about the flight. Given that you never know what's happening in the world, as we see right now, does that price include any kind of trip insurance, or would that be on our own?
Great question. So your trip price does include travel insurance, right? And so that's it's insurance that's a medical supplementary insurance policy for
Okay.
you. So if something were to happen in country, it's a basic coverage policy. It does not include your airfare or those types of things. That's like trip insurance. Like if
Sure.
your trip
Right.
were to get canceled, you may choose to purchase that. The travel insurance that we provide for you, we work through a broker and procure that a couple of weeks before you travel, and you'll have a card to take with you. But that's more for like calamitous issues or events that would
Right.
happen that would require your evacuation. And so that's very separate. So I want to be clear about that. So the trip price includes that type of insurance, but not the
Okay.
trip insurance of like, hey, if all of a sudden we're not going at all, or
Right.
whatever, that piece that is not included. Some people choose to go by purchasing that or purchasing fully refundable airfares or things like that. I was on a call this morning with one of our Gaza advisors, and he said that the ticket prices are climbing due to the increase in fuel costs. And so what he used to be able to get to Tanzania from his home here in the States at about $1,500 was looking like north of $2,200 right now. And so it's just such a game to try and figure that piece out as soon as I can. And if you're on the registration list, as soon as I get that itinerary in those first few days and those last few days sorted out, I'll let you know so then you can start really locking in those tickets. And if you want to move on it faster, just please let me know because I know that's tricky because it could be really high this week and it could drop next week. And that's really, really tricky too. We are in times that are quite uncertain. So I appreciate the question because, yeah, these are challenging times, I would say.
Challenging.
Other questions?
Just out of curiosity, which tour company are you using? Safari
We
company.
Yeah, we in the past have worked with two different ones, but the one that we've most recently worked with is Nasserean Adventures, and his name is Alex, and he has been a real wonderful connection for us, an introduction made by someone who is a friend of LPGM, and it's worked out pretty well. He actually is the owner-operator of Ilboru Safari Lodge too, so we kind of have had it be in one space and kind of working together in that partnership. So that has worked out well, and we will continue to work with that travel operator because they do know our itinerary and they know what we're about and they know what makes us different than other groups that travel in to that region for maybe a more traditional vacation safari experience. Other
A
questions?
quick question about LPGM. For your travel rotations, is September when you typically go to Tanzania? Is that
It is, Kim,
that
and
usually fits on your calendar?
yeah, it usually fits on the calendar. And part of the reason why we try and go around this period of time, the 10th to the 20th, is our partners, as they're so great, but they actually work on opposite calendars. So Aeropoto works when the girls are out of school, and Mwangaza works when the kids are in school.
I
So we
see.
try and get this little shoulder piece where we have people, there's always girls staying at Aeropoto. I'll let you know there are girls that are going to college or on break. And so, but the kind of the full strength of Aeropoto isn't realized unless they're on a holiday break. And so we try and get into this space of having time where they're more at full strength. And then also moving into when school's coming back in session to have time with Mwangaza and maybe catching in a peace summit if possible, but certainly school visits and learning more about what's happening there. So the time of year has been set, I think, this way for quite some time. It's a drier time of year. You don't have to worry as much about precipitation getting in the way of your safari or things like that. It's pretty comfortable temperature-wise too, and it seems to be a really good time for our partners to go around that time of year when they're not kind of right in the deep part of their programming. So,
Perfect. All right. Thank you.
yeah, you're welcome. Any final questions,
I
thoughts?
would just wanted to add, if any of you have like a bulletin board at your church or work or library or anything, we would love to share our little flyer with you. And there's a QR code on there so people can like click for more information. I mean, if you want me to send you the PDF of this or even in the mail, I'd be happy to do that. Sarah, yes, we
Send
can
me a
get you.
PDF. That's fine.
I
Yeah.
will get you the PDF, or I think I might be seeing you on Thursday.
Yeah, you will.
Maybe, so I could give it to you Thursday also.
Yep.
But anyway, so yeah. And also, if you are on social media, that's another really great way to follow our partners and our programs, and also to like and share them with other friends. So if you are like on, Facebook, even LinkedIn, Instagram, just look for Lutheran Partners in Global Ministry, or even Mwangaza Education for Partnership, and Aripoto for Girls and Women. We all have our own pages, and oftentimes we will like repost what they're posting. But the more publicity and awareness and visibility and likes we can give this, it's just going to help us spread the word of the great work of our partners and opportunities like this for people to travel who might want to join us. So thank you for helping us get the word out.
So Bethany, does the QR code, will that link to this this taped?
It will link to our website, but we can
okay.
Somehow make it this recording available and be known to those people as well.
All right. Okay. So if you could send me that, I think I have an older one, but I'll post a new one.
Great.
I will send, we can just send out a new one as an attachment to the follow-up with the recording, right, Laura? We can do that. So everybody can get it and then decide how you're going to use it. But if you want something sent in the mail, we are happy to send packets of information in the mail if you'd like.
Great. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us and for your interest. And hopefully we'll see some of you landing in Kilimanjaro Airport in September. Meet Bethany and Sarah.
Yay!
Thanks for being here.
Bye. Bye, everybody.
Thanks for this.